So now we are live, and the show is live on your page as well. We have about 2 minutes to start the radio show, and then we'll start the interview. So, welcome to everybody who's joining us through Facebook Live. Let me just make sure that it is. Yeah, so it is live, and sure it's on your page as well. Yep. So it's live on your page too. So everybody who's on your friend list can see it. Welcome everybody. And we are going to start the U-Turn show in about 1 minute. That's-
WBISLP 1069, Winterville, Aden, Grifton, Southside, Greenville, North Carolina. I try to be a better man, but folks just don't understand. Trying to do all I can to deal with this addiction in me. Lord, I want to change. I can't stay the same. But the sins that in my vein is trying its best just to kill me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to the U-Turn show. I am your host, Richard A. Taylor, broadcasting live from Awesome Radio 106.9 WBIS FM on your FM dial. Welcome to everybody who's joining the U-Turn show again. It's definitely a pleasure to have everyone. And please, if you have not done so, go to the website www.wbisawesomeradio.org. If you do want to catch up on all the episodes of the show or all the episodes of Awesome Radio, you can download our app either on the Google Play, the Apple Store, or Alexa. And also feel free to call in and comment on the show. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, but also you can call in live. This is an interactive show. So call in live 252-756-2008 and join us every Tuesday night on the U-Turn show where we have very inspirational and motivational stories and radio with the spirit of excellence. And I have an excellent guest tonight. I'm excited to have Minister Latoya Williams, a great woman of God, a philanthropist, a administrator, founder of her own organization, just an all-around empowering woman with an amazing testimony. So I definitely want to welcome her to the U-Turn show. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you for being here. Such a pleasure. And just a little backstory. I met Miss Williams, Minister Williams, promoting my books one day, and she saw my books, and she got my books and wanted me to send a book to a family member. And she told me immediately about her organization, which is Striving with Vision Support, Community Support Group. Am I saying that right?
Empowerment Support Group.
Striving with Vision Empowerment Support Group, which is your own nonprofit organization. She does a lot of good in the community with that organization, handing out, items and clothing to the homeless, just doing so much. And Striving with Vision real quick before we get into the backstory. Where did you come up with that name for your organization, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it's all too familiar with my life story. My history with being a high school dropout. I wasn't focused at all when I was a young adult, and I just had no direction. And as I got older, I learned, you have to stay focused in order to obtain any type of goal in life. And so striving forward and keeping your vision in front of you to be able to see where you're going in life. So that's where the name came from, striving with vision.
That's wonderful. And to see you today, you are definitely the epitome of striving with vision, because as you said, you was a high school dropout, and also you have the story of so many African American women in our community of being a single mother as well. And you focus on empowering women, especially empowering women, as you told me before we started the segment. Um, so how did your experiences as a single mother kind of prepare you for striving with vision and making that next step to going from single motherhood to marriage and doing everything that you are doing now?
Well, starting out, it was just very tough, living in the projects and working job to job. I was putting limits on myself because I didn't put myself in a position to succeed and even do better. I've always worked fast food restaurants, so I just had food service background. And one day the light bulb just came on. I knew that I wanted more. I wanted to be able to provide more for my children. And I knew I couldn't do it in the state that I was in. I had to go back to school because if
Okay.
I didn't choose to go back to school, I would have been in some predicament.
Okay. Now, how hard was that though? I mean, going back to school, taking care of children, probably presumably small, and trying to work. You had all of those things on your plate. How much determination did it take to get through that and be where you are today?
I went to school during the day. My kids went to daycare. They went to school and they went to early morning daycare. They went to evening daycare and night daycare. I worked two jobs and went to school, and it was tough. But there were times that I didn't complete school. I didn't go consistent. I went, lost focus, dropped out. Then I went back, dropped out. So it took me a long time to get to that stability point in my life. That didn't come till later on in my 20s, later 20s.
Okay.
So it was just pretty tough. I still was in a place where I knew what I wanted, but I was struggling trying to get there. But one day I made a decision that, Toy, you got to do something different. You're gonna keep going the same circle. If you don't make a change, you're gonna be stuck right here. So I'll never forget it. I remember I was working in the cafeteria. I used to work in the North County Public Schools, and I was working in the cafeteria, and it was in between lunches when I was wiping the tables off. And I said, I don't want to do this forever. You know, I didn't want to stand up on my feet and continue to work in food service. I just wanted to do something different. But when I looked at my resume, I didn't have no other background but fast food. I didn't have any administrative skills. I didn't know much about a computer. I didn't have the skill set. So I took the courses. I went back to school. I took intro to computers. I put myself in a position First, I had to have a desire to change. That's the number one thing. You have to have a desire to change, and you have to have your mind fixed on what you want out of life and set that goal. And I did that. But like I said, it didn't come overnight. I made a lot of mistakes along the way, but it came to a point where I knew in order for me to get further along, I had to quit making irrational choices. I had to do something that was solid, that would bring stability to me and my family. And that was the best decision I ever made, you know.
Yes, ma'am, man. And once again,
So,
I want to read this comment. Nashima Vaughn said, Latoya Williams, I'm so proud of you, cuz. Keep pushing and, of course, keep striving. So it looks like that she's one who probably seen your struggle firsthand. And that's what, that's what this is all about, about showing testimonies, because there's somebody right now, who's struggling and who wants more and don't see how it can be done, or are making those mistakes. Like you said, you didn't go straight through college and finish. You went, dropped out, went, dropped out, went, dropped out. But you kept the faith. And now, like I said, you are not standing on your feet all day. You're working at the administration at a university. So that is
mhm.
that is once again awesome. And you talked about, you want invest for your children. And I know you have a daughter that we was I spoke with earlier. And so how do you think that affected them, watching you step up to the plate, and how important, is it for you to keep showing that those examples to them, to get them in a position where they are successful?
Well, they often tell me that the things that I've done, they appreciate it. They know the struggles that I've been through. They experienced the struggles with me. And for me to be able to put myself in a position of change, to
Mm-hmm.
show them a better way of life and a better way of doing things, it's meaningful. And it was just very important for me to do that. It really wasn't all about me, it was for them, you know, because I know in order for my kids to be successful, I had to make a change for them. And I know that they appreciate it, and they're really thankful to have the foundation that they have and the upbringing that they have.
Definitely. And I'm gonna read this comment. Troy Taheem Wilson says God was just in itself. And my mother, Letta Taylor, says, I'm proud of you myself. So thank you, Mom, for joining in. But we're gonna go back to that comment, God, my brother Taheem Wilson. Now, because you are a minister now, and I don't know how long you've been a minister, but I know during that transition you had to once again lean and depend on God. So at what point during your struggle, during your single motherhood, did you say, okay, God, I'm going to try this with you instead of doing it on my own?
That was the key. I was doing it on my own all the time, and I wasn't getting anywhere. And I just didn't have a peace of mind. I just knew how much I wanted that change. And we try so hard to do it our way on our own and find ourselves in the same state all the time. And once I started going to church more, hearing the word, put myself in the atmosphere, and hearing the word just transformed me just totally. I just love going to church, that atmosphere, that word of faith. It just propelled me. It just made me just say, no, I got to have this. It's my meat. I have to have it. And when I started going, I said, ain't no turning back. It's nothing back there. Once you start living that lifestyle, and you turn and you transform your life living for God, you look back and you like, man, what I was thinking, I should have been doing this a long time ago. living a saved life is a good life. And I enjoy it, living for God and serving God and doing for others. I know that this is what God wanted me to do, to be on a mission and doing his will and serving and giving and doing for others, especially for my kids to see it. They needed to see this new mom because I was a young mom. My oldest three, they got the young, irresponsible Toya. They got the Toya that was in the club at bingo, drop
Okay.
them off at the babysitter all the time. They got that mom. But this mother can teach them morals, principles, discipline, and structure.
Definitely.
I want about that life back then.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
And so you mentioned,
So God did that. God put that in me.
so now because me, like, I'm the son of a preacher. So I mean, you mentioned rebellious. So I was rebellious early on, and I finally, got to the point not too long ago that I decided that nothing but God can satisfy my need, and life is won't be fuller until I dedicate myself to God. So did you have that upbringing as church? Because you mentioned started back going to church, or started going to church, or did was you raised in the church, or did you just come to the end of your rope and say, God,
Hmm.
you know I want some help?
A little bit of both. A little bit of it was a little bit of both. My mom did raise me up in church, but you stray, you do your own thing. But I started going on my own when I got grown, and I felt that I was old school. I always felt different from the friends that I was around. Even though I clubbed and I hung out and I did different things, in the world and everything, I still felt a little bit different because I was still that mom at home baking cakes every Sunday. I was still that mom playing gospel music all the time. And they was little and
Okay.
I was doing that. So I always knew it was in me. I knew it was in me. And I had that desire on the inside of change way back then, even though I was still out there. I still wanted more and I wanted something different for my life.
So
I
you
wish I would have did it earlier, but if I wouldn't change what I went through because that's what made me the woman that I am today.
hmm And a lot of people, once again, like even right now on this show, you're giving somebody inspiration and testimonies of somebody who can change and do something different, and you and actually as I speak with you, you're always talking about your mom, like you're always over your mom's house, and you're always going to see her and telling her the good things that you are doing and God is doing for you. How important was she in your transformation, and your struggles, because I know it's always good to have somebody in your corner.
Well, I'll back up a little bit since you brought that up. Me and my mom didn't always have the best relationship, and it was because of me. I was that rebellious child. I was the one I just wouldn't listen, wouldn't come home, did what I wanted to do. So I didn't really get that mother daughter bond growing up that I should have got because of my attitude, my rebellious ways, me wanting to do what I wanted to do. But as I got older, I learned to appreciate my mom, and I understand her better, and I understand her values were for my life. So our relationship has flourished because of the respect that I have for her now, and she understands me, and I understand her better. And she is just blown away. She loves what I do. She appreciates what I do. She's so thankful to be here to see the change. She tells me all the time she's very proud of me. She's proud of the change. She used to drop me off at school, and then I catch a cab and leave right after she leave me and leave school. So for me to get my GED, go back to school, my mom is very proud. I wish my dad was here to see the change too, but I know he's looking down on me. I know he's proud of me. And a lot of people that's watching, they know that I'm from the K, Simon Bright. A lot of people know about my past, but it's under the blood. That's not Toya anymore. This is Minister Latoya Williams. I'm a new person. I'm the founder of Travel with Vision. I'm a new creature. So that old person is done with. My mother is very proud of me. So if anything was to happen to my mom right now, I know that she is at peace with the woman that I've become. So I'm grateful for that. I'm
Simon
very grateful.
A. I guess that's the hood or projects and kids. What do you say, Simon Bright?
Sound right.
Simon Bright. Is that what like a project or
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood? So yeah, definitely, man. And
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna get back to that after the break. We got about 2 more minutes before we go to station break, but I do want to read a couple of more comments. Nashima Vaughn says, "I love seeing you hold your head up, being the woman that God created you to be. You are a true inspiration." My father, Roger Taylor, says, "Thank God for his word. His word is spirit and life." Vondale Linder says, "Go, sis." Is that your brother? I think. And our
Mm-hmm.
sister Felicia Mitchell says, "Only what you do for Christ will last." And God says, "The righteous shall flourish like a green leaf." And Vondale Linder says, "I'm proud of you." And LaQuisha Robinson says, "Period, 100." Yeah, so you definitely have a lot of people who are definitely proud of you. And we're going to go back into that as far as like, our past, because, we spoke about this earlier before, we started the show about people. I think you put up a Facebook post that says, don't let, your past hold you in bondage or something like that. So we're going to get into that after the break. But please stay with us because we have about 30 more minutes to go with Minister Latoya Williams and striving with vision. We're definitely going to talk about that as well because you do have, a couple of events coming up. So I definitely want to give you some time to tell the public about those events. Those who are in the Kinston, Greenville, North Carolina, Goldsboro, Wilson, Aden, Greenville. Anybody within a 45, minute radius. I would love for you guys to support what she has coming up. I think it's a couple of weekends from now, but we're going to get into that. Stay with us. We're going to be right back on 106.9 FM U-Turn Show.
Does your church or ministry have just one, what we call the money guy that handles its finances?
That's attorney David Gibbs Jr., and this is the Legal Alert.
Please let me be clear about this. Ensuring your donations are safe and protected is absolutely vital. It's a matter of moral and legal perspective. It's an integrity issue at the highest level. It is not just unwise. It's asking for a lawsuit if your ministry still relies on just one or two individuals to handle and control all aspects of church finances. These kinds of situations are ripe for embezzlement claims, and there can frequently be illegal action brought. Financial controls are absolutely paramount for any ministry or church. At this point, failure to spend the time necessary to ensure that your ministry finances are properly protected will likely lead to a ministry liability. Remember, the money in your ministry is not yours individually. It's a nonprofit's ministry money and must be protected. If you have issues or questions about how to do this, please call our offices if you have any questions.
Call the Christian Law Association for legal support. Call 888-252-1969. That's 888-252-1969.
Why is there death and suffering? This is Ken Ham, inviting your family to visit the Ark Encounter during Christmas. Today is the 80-year anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor and when America entered World War II. Anniversaries like this one often make people wonder, why is there death and suffering if there's a good God? Well, the Bible explains why. God created a perfect world. There was no death or suffering, no sin, no war in this original creation. But the first two people rebelled against God and brought death and suffering into creation. After they broke creation, every person is now a sinner. Horrible things like war are a result of man's sin. But praise the Lord, He's coming again, and He'll make a new heaven and new earth.
Plan your visit to the Ark Encounter at AnswersRadio.com. Children 10 and under are free this month, and our Christmas programs have started. That's AnswersRadio.com.
Broke off my knob at 106.9 FM to Awesome Radio, and I'm glad about it.
Lord, I hope this is your plan for me to die up in these streets. Oh Lord, can you help me?
Yes. All right. And we are back. Welcome back to our radio audience and our Facebook audience here on the U-Turn Show, WBIS 106.9 FM on your radio dial. I'm your host, Richard Taylor, the U-Turn Show. We are here with my special guest, Minister Latoya Williams. Welcome back. Thank you all once again for tuning in. And we were talking about, not being held in bondage. And this is what you said. You said God still has a purpose for your life. Don't let your past mistakes hold you in bondage. And you talked about a little bit about your past mistakes. What advice would you give people who are still struggling to overcome those past mistakes?
Look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you can do this, because it's something inside of you that God put in you. It's something inside of everyone. You just got to look deep within. Don't keep looking back, because you're not going to be able to see where you're going if you're looking back. You got to just take one step at a time, move forward, celebrate your small victories. Don't beat yourself up about your past, because your past is just what it says, your past. Your latter days shall be greater than your former days.
Okay.
So you got to know that within inside of you. So that's what I meant when I post that, because it's something that everybody struggle with. The enemy always want to replay your history over and over that make you think you're not worthy of something better or something greater. You have to stay within that same realm of defeat. But no, you only are what you think you are. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to speak positive affirmations over your life. You have to speak those things what you believe that you are. What you say about you is what matters, not what somebody else thinks, not what somebody else said, not what you did yesterday. You have to move forward, get past that, let stuff go, hold your head high, and just believe in yourself. That confidence will definitely break barriers. And I had to do that for myself. That's how I'm able to share this testimony, because every day I don't feel like Minister Latoya Williams. Every day I don't feel like someone that is an encourager. Every day I don't feel powerful and strong and mighty. I have to feed myself the word of God. I have to continue to keep myself encouraged daily. It's a daily walk. It's real. You get discouraged, but you have to hold your head up and press forward anyway, no matter what. Daily, you have to get in that mirror and talk to yourself. When you ride in the car, talk to yourself. Whatever. It don't matter somebody looking at you and might make you think you crazy. You're not crazy. You speaking words of wisdom over your life. It's better for you to pray for you than get somebody else to pray for you. Be strong in the Lord and the power of his might.
Okay.
That's what you got to do, to press forward.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
What you got to do.
And real quick, Sonya Barry says, awesome lady, childhood friend, so proud, my inspiration. Once again, my brother Troy Tahim said, family is your first ministry. They see your transformation first. And my sister Tammy Wooten says, amen. And we're going to get right back to what you were saying about, the struggle, the daily struggle, because we talked about this earlier, and you mentioned mental health. Mental health is very big. And I asked you how, with everything on your plate, you got family depending upon you, you got your organization, you got all the help that you do in the community, you got your job, and you're the anchor, as you said, for everyone. How do what do you do? How do you hold on? Like, and you even mentioned, even speaking to a therapist, which is sort of taboo in our community. We black people, we don't really like to say, okay, I'm going to talk to a therapist. What, you crazy? You talking to a therapist? But how has that helped you in handling all of your
Well, I
response?
was one of those. I didn't want to talk to a therapist. I felt like if I internalize everything, it's gonna make it better. But I come to realize if you don't confront it, you can't deal with it. You
Okay.
got to confront your issues. And no, it's not easy. But you still got to look you in the mirror. You got to deal with you. If you don't deal with you, hey, the issue's not going to do away with themselves. But it takes courage to do that. Some people get discouraged because somebody may say, or even give them the advice to get counsel. And they may say, ain't nothing wrong with me. But really, it is some issues going on, but you're in denial. And I used to be that way. I didn't want to seek help. But there was a time in my life where I knew if I didn't seek help, I was going to decline. And when I say decline, I mean to an internal place. I wasn't going to be here anymore because I knew mentally and spiritually and emotionally I was dead. I knew that I had to do something or everything that's connected to me gonna die with me.
Mm.
I had to make a decision to get the help that I need. And I had to find a balance. Self-care is very important. And being a wife, a mother, a caregiver, or just doing your day-to-day duties, being productive, you lose yourself. You find yourself not feeling the norm. But you got to take a moment to take a step back. It might hurt to take a step back because it's not your normal routine to do that. But sometimes you have to get uncomfortable to get to where you need to be.
Mm.
And I had to make a choice. And the therapy was good for me. And I'm not ashamed of it. The stigma says ministers don't need counseling because you are the counselor, but the devil is a lie. The encourager need to be encouraged
Yeah.
because you take in a lot. You pouring into so many people, but you have to get filled up too. So I'm learning to balance my mental health, my family life, and my professional life. Sometimes you got to compartmentalize the components of your life. No, it's not easy and it does not happen overnight. If you have to write it down, do whatever it takes to make it easier for you. It's necessary for you to do that because if not, you're going to find yourself spiraling down, out of control, bad behaviors. I mean, it's just going to get ugly. And it's just not good. Mental health, you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it. And you just need a support system. That's what Striving with Vision is all about. And the reason why I chose to do this is because of my own personal experience. Sometimes literally experience is the best teacher because I can't tell you how to deal with something that I haven't dealt with and I haven't been through and I haven't overcame. So my testimony is definitely authentic. When I'm talking to people, ministering to people, I'm telling them the real because I know I lived it. I'm still going through things, but I'm not going to walk around with my head down. I'm not going to walk around and look like the problem when I know that God already gave me a solution. I have to just follow the steps. You have to go through the process. The process takes time. Pruning takes time. Things just don't happen overnight, but you have to be willing to make that sacrifice to get to that place where you want to be. If you want mental freedom and you want to be delivered from your old ways, your past behaviors, bad habits, even the smallest thing to getting up early in the morning or um, just doing laundry on a regular basis. I mean, little simple tasks.
Definitely.
You have to take the time to balance those things in your life.
Yep.
And once you take that time to balance those things, it'll definitely make a difference.
Yeah, we got about 10 more seconds, and we're going to come right back with Striving with Vision. Minister Latoya Williams is preaching to me right now. But y'all stay with us because we got one more segment coming up on the U-Turn Show.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris. Black doctors are expressing their frustration with an FDA decision not to release all the data relating to the Pfizer vaccine trials. Pediatrician Dr. Yolanda Hancock told AURN that it makes her job harder to convince people to take the vaccine.
The FDA saying it's going to take 55 years to release the full Pfizer report makes my job even more difficult in a space, especially in the pediatric population, where parents are already concerned about exposing their children to something that they consider questionable in some instances, to not be fully transparent. If the FDA advisory panel had access to all hundreds of thousands of pages, so should the American public. It shouldn't be until I'm a great grandmother that my daughter and I have access to this information. It needs to be readily available, especially if the biggest issue within communities of color is hesitancy and distrust of the system. You don't create more distrust by holding back the data for 55 years.
For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
This is Awesome Radio, WBIS-LP 106.9.
Yes, and we are back with our last segment on the U-Turn Show. Once again, 106.9 FM, Awesome Radio, WBL. ISLP. Thank you once again, everybody who is tuning into the show. I have a wonderful, excellent guest, Minister Latoya Williams. She's been dropping a lot of gems and jewels and encouragement for us tonight, and I can't wait to get back to it. Just a couple more comments. Tammy Wooten says online, my mother Letta Taylor says courage, yes. And Felicia Mitchell says it's in our weakest state that God's strength is made perfect, and he will establish us and settle us if we believe. And that's definitely what you were talking about. And you mentioned something about being a minister, and actually I just learned this a while back, that the word minister, many people think minister means like a up high position, which it is, of course, but the word minister means actually to serve. And you mentioned that you are pouring out and serving so many people that sometimes you need to be poured into and you need to be served. So we definitely don't want to discount that, when you're talking about the encourager needing to be encouraged. Sometimes the strongest people are, some of the ones who need the most encouragement at times when they are weakest, so they don't fall into those deepest, darkest states. So I definitely thank you for breaking that down to us. And Minister, just a quick question. Now, when did you preach your first sermon?
Last November.
So almost about a year.
It has been a year.
The initial
November the 8th.
And what now, was it your pastor who called you in to do it, or you just said I'm ready to preach, or how did that come about?
I felt the leading of the Spirit. I knew for a while that's what he called me into, ministry, evangelism. Okay. It's just anointed. I know he anointed me to do this because I understand it better now that I'm in the Word and in God. Our life situations is our purpose. It turns into our purpose once you get revelation knowledge of it. Sometimes people don't understand why they go through what they go through, but it ends up catapulting you to the position that you're in. So everything that I've been through, Striving with Vision, has been developed because of that.
Okay. And let's get into Striving with Vision. What is the basis of the organization? and how did it how did that ministry come about?
A coping mechanism back to the mental health, the struggles that I've had with depression and just being isolated a lot, introvert, not really want to be around a lot of people, a lot of people. This is my first time pretty much disclosing it publicly, but people probably wouldn't even think that I was like that, but yes, that was definitely a struggle for me. And when my son got incarcerated, it really pushed me over the edge to deal with my emotions. I had to channel that energy somewhere because I was getting angry. I was up and down, and that was a situation that I couldn't control. And I had to go back to the word with that, change things that I can't change, that I can change. The things that I can't change, just don't worry about it. Let God handle it. And that's what I had to do. And doing the ministry of striving with vision, it just released so much stress, took my mind off everything, like my problems. When I'm out doing mission work in the community, no one knows what you go through behind closed doors. I don't wear it. I just be so full of joy and humility because I'm serving and I'm giving. That's one thing about life. People, whoever's listening right now, I just want you all to know that some things you just can't change. But what are you going to do in the midst of your storm? Are you going to stand there and let the rain just fall all over you and you get wet? Or you going to lay down and just be in the mud? Or you going to get up and you going to do something about it? You're going to stay covered. And that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to press forward and not just sit and waddle in our pity, because you can't change the situation. If you could change it, it would already be changed. So when my son got incarcerated, with the intensity of his situation, I knew it was nothing that I could do but move forward. So striving with vision just gave me that platform to take my mind off of that situation, and I just enjoy what I do. That's what really helps me cope with a lot of things.
Yeah. And my mother is on the program. She's probably listening. She listens every week. And I've been in positions that where I've put my mother through so much, like, situations where, you know, we didn't see a way out. It was, I just see the pain and hurt on her face. So I know she can relate, to what you probably going through now. But what would you tell other mothers who are dealing with wayward children, who are, have those situations beyond their control, where, you know, it's just so much weighing down on? Like I said, I don't know how you feel, but I know how, I know the pain that I used to see in my mother's face when I was talking through her, through those jail cells, when she was coming to court and I'm in shackles and handcuffs, and she's just, I see the pain and the hurt on her face. What would you tell mothers, who are going through the similar situations that you have went through?
I will say, don't beat yourself up. I can say that now, but I dealt with it. And once I come to realization that it's not my fault, we as mothers do the best that we can by our kids. We raise them up right and we teach them in the way of the Lord. Even their mothers that probably don't go to church, but you do the best you can by your child. The choices that they make when they get older and they go about and go astray, you can't hold yourself in bondage because of that. You have to set yourself free from that. And I had to do that. And I just want to encourage other mothers to stay strong, not only for your child, but for your own mental health. When your child is incarcerated, they feed off your strength. If they feel that you are down and weary, it makes them feel that way. So whatever things that I'm dealing with, I try my best not to show that emotion or express that emotion when I talk to my son, because he's already in a situation that he can't change or control. And I don't want him agitated and worried about me out here. So I just try to distance, separate my emotions when I talk to him. But for other mothers, I just know the pain that they go through, and my heart goes out to them. I just want them to stay encouraged and know that they're not alone in this. You can get through this. Striving with Vision is here as a platform, a support group. I know personally what it is to be emotionally drained, even financially. It's a lot, when you have a child incarcerated. But you do not have to let it consume you. I chose to live through my pain and push past my pain and find my purpose. And I couldn't have found my purpose without God. You have to tune into Him and get clarity from Him so you'll know what direction you need to take in life. And He gave me that. God gave me that.
Yeah.
Outside of him, I couldn't have made it through this. People ask me all the time, how you so strong, or how you able to do this and that, and you going through all that. I know it's God that has given me this strength. I couldn't have done this on my own. I would have gave up a long time ago. But I know that he called me to a higher standard. He called me to a place to help other women, encourage other mothers, and just be strong. And I'm just so grateful for that. I don't take no credit for the strength that I have. It comes from him. But I know as he giving me strength, he can do the same thing for another mother. You can be strong through this and you can get through it. But we're here as a support group. And I just want to let them know they're not alone.
Okay. And definitely, man, I've seen your strength and I can just be a witness to it. Just a couple of more comments. Felicia Mitchell said, I love this show. It's very inspiring. Keep making an impact, Richard. You guys are awesome. God bless you, woman of God. Sonia Berry says, amen again. My mother, Aletta Taylor, says, get up, press. Yes. And Tammy Wooten says, trust God. And like the minister said, just trust God in the process and stay in God's word. Felicia Mitchell said, God didn't say, be still and feel that I am God. He says, be still and know that I am God. And I will help you and uplift you with right righteous hand. Definitely thank y'all for your comments. And real quick, because we got about 10 minutes, but I definitely want the people on the radio show and on the Facebook broadcast to know about the benefit that you have coming up. I think it's December the 19th.
Yes. Striving with Vision has been doing outreach and community work since 2019. And in doing so, I want to be able to expand by developing a program to be able to do even more things in the community. Being that we just recently became a 501c nonprofit, it opened up more opportunity for us to be able to provide more resources for the community. And the program is called the Moto Connect program. And this banquet will be our first fundraiser banquet, and it will be here in Greenville at the Greenfield Terrace Community Center. You can go to Eventbrite or my Facebook page, or Striving with Vision Facebook page, or strivingwithvision.com website, and get the information for the tickets. If you don't purchase tickets on Eventbrite, you can come. It's from 5 to 8 p.m. on next Sunday, the 19th. And it's going to be a nice event. I just want to be able to share what our projections are for this upcoming year. Share the things that we've done over the past 2 years, build partnerships, and just network and let people know what Striving with Vision is all about. Recruit participants, volunteers, people that just want to be a part of the vision and believe in what we're doing and don't mind being a part of. We just want to open it up for people to know what we're doing.
Thank you. And see, she's a little bit modest, but she did everything herself as far as setting up, the 501c3 and doing the paperwork. And she just told me on the show that she just did another person's who got approved for their nonprofit organization. So, if you guys have a nonprofit idea and you haven't, got it in manifested. We're gonna say manifested. She is the person to talk to in getting your 503c, 501c, whatever it is, 501c incorporated. So you definitely might want to speak with her on that regard. And also, man, I definitely once again just want to thank you for everything that you're doing, but also I had the pleasure as well. And my station manager may get on me about this because we're supposed to have free books anytime I mention a book, so we might have to get some free books from you. But I do want to, give a compliment, give a shout out to your son who actually wrote his first book and in his current situation, and give an encouragement to other people. And once again, I had the privilege of publishing, uh, helping her publish that book. It's called Mentally Free, by her son Shanquez Robinson, and it just talks about even him being mentally free in dealing with his situation, and just giving encouragement to others. The book encouraged me. He actually has the power and the words to encourage me from behind the walls in his situation. So how can people also support your son and your vision with getting that book?
You can go to Amazon and purchase the book. The ebook is $10, $9.99. The paperback is $12. Um, if you would like to cash out or donate to him directly, you can do $ mentally free 2021. All funds will go directly to him. And I just appreciate all the support, and I want to thank everyone that has purchased the book, shared the post on behalf of my son during this time, because we greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, and this once again, like you'll be astounded, uh, just by the knowledge that the young man has, with me, proofreading and editing, and I'm just like, wow, he's dropping some knowledge in there. Just gives you an insight, on so many different society things in society that I talk about all the time. But he gives you a firsthand experience of what's some of the things that we as black men go through, and the reasoning behind some of the decisions that we make. So I encourage everyone to not only support and purchase the book, but also once again support the Striving with Vision, because that's what this is all about. With helping people who may be in bad situations, and those family who are in bad situations, whether they're homeless, whether they're incarcerated, whether they're financially distressed, whatever it is, we still got to strive with vision. So we only got we got about 3 minutes left, so I'm going to give you the floor, Minister Williams. What else would you like the audience to know if you want to leave them with anything before we go?
Well, briefly, my daughter is on, so if you have any questions for her. Hi.
Hey, Quisha, definitely. How you doing?
Hey.
All right. Now, so okay, so you are.
Good,
We got
good.
about 2 minutes left. Now, what is the most awe-inspiring quality that you see in your mother and what she has done and what she is still doing? What grabs you the most and wants to inspire you to do great things that she's doing?
Um, Everything really. It's just good to see, be able to just witness all this. Just firsthand, not as just someone else. Just to be able to be okay, say, hey, I'm her daughter, so not only being able to experience this stuff that she's teaching to other people, teaching to me as her daughter, just as a whole broad perspective, and saying, hey, like, wow, like this is all things that she's doing, her ministering, her striving with vision group, it's everything. I just love what she's doing. It's teaching me a lot because I'm a mom as well. So
Okay.
just like you asked her earlier, what did she have to say to moms? I'm a young mom, so it's just good to learn from her.
So now, she told me a little bit about you and your situation as well. I understand that you went through a hard situation not too long ago as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. And
Yes.
gotta we now we're going to continue this on Facebook Live because the radio show is about to end, but I definitely want to speak to you about this because once again that you can give somebody some encouragement with your testimony and how you're dealing with this situation. But I want to thank Minister Latoya Williams for gracing us with a present to the radio show. Thank y'all for tuning in. We will be back next week, same time, same place at 10 p.m. We're going to end the radio show now, but we're going to keep this live video on Facebook. But I want to thank once again you guys for tuning in. Make sure you tune in again next week. www.wbisawesomeradio.org, 106.9 FM on your radio dial. Also, go to the app and download the Google Play, Apple Store, or Alexa app. But once again, see you next week. Just
Lord, I need you to smile on me. Lord, I'm pleading. Tell me where you want me to go.
Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So
Mm-hmm.
LaQuisha, am I saying that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So now you are a young mother
Okay.
of two, correct?
Yes.
You have a young son and a daughter now. Actually, like I said, she just told me this, but I definitely want to. She told me that your children's father passed suddenly last year.
Yes. Last
Okay.
April 2020.
Last April 2020. So, I don't know, where, I know it's hard, but can you put it into words, losing someone so suddenly and having to know that, okay, these are going to be your responsibilities without any assistance from their father from now on out. You know, how did that hit you and how are you dealing with that?
When it first happened, it was hard. Of course, my daughter was 1, and my son was only 5 weeks old at the time of passing. So, it was very hard. It was very hard. I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know how in the world. I honestly hated to even think about the future because I'm like, how in the world can I picture Christmas? This was last year now. How can I picture the holidays? How can I picture this stuff without him there? I hated even thinking of next week, the next day, anything, because I didn't know how would this even happen. And it's crazy now. We're a year and a half, maybe a year and like 6 months later, and I still hate thinking about when they grow up, when they go to school and things like that. When they learn how to ride a bike, they're doing more things. So I mean, now I am doing better. I still grieve. I still cry. I still have my days and my nights. That I let out emotions and things like that when I have a long time. But it's just, I guess it's just an ongoing process, as far as grieving and just everything, but I know that he's still here spiritually, and so that's how I'm getting through, just knowing that he's there.
So, how big of a help has your mother been during the situation and the transition and everything?
She's been a great help, a great help. She has been here from, that time until now, helping me with anything that I need, as far as help with the kids. Today, she texted this morning, "Good morning. Did Bryson need some more pants?" My son's name Bryson. And I said, yes, so I mean, just helping my mom and his mom, Brian's mom, that's his name, Brian. Both of them together, both helped me. My son Bryson, his first birthday, they both came to his birthday party with the same gift. They both got him a basketball goal. So the same basketball goal. So, I mean, both of them together equally, have been just so much help. I go over there every week. I'm here every day. So both of them have been ultimately a great help, and I'm very appreciative of it.
That's awesome. And real quick, a comment. Latoya with it says, definitely enjoying the spirit. I'm feeling you're so awesome, I guess, and quiet. I guess that's what she said about you.
Sweet.
Oh, Queet. Oh, you're so awesome.
Sweet is my
That's your
yeah.
nickname. And actually, your mother had the chance to show me your children the other day, and it was just so. I'm not the other day, but right before the show, and I was just like, wow, I see your brother and your daughter and your son. So, um, that's that. Y'all definitely have some strong genes. I'll give you that. And so, what do you see yourself at? Um, being able to overcome all this, and then what do you see yourself at when you are, let's say, your mother's age? And I know that's not too far. Well, I don't know how long it is, but I know it's like a little ways in the distance. But where do you see yourself at? When you are there, if you can see that far, because I know it's.
I I cannot see that far. That's another one of the things that I say. I hate. I still hate. To think about. 5 years from now. Like I just it hurts to just think about the future, because I don't know. When I try to picture, I try to picture it with Brian. So it's just I don't know. It's hard to look that far. Um, I hope I'm doing well, thriving, business, my children. That'll be what, 20 years. So they'll be grown. I don't even know. I don't even know what. I can't even. I haven't even thought of how they would be that time. So I don't know. I'm just taking this thing day by day. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know you're going to be successful because you come from, that resilient stock of your mother. So I know that you're going to be successful. And I definitely want to just encourage you to just, keep going, because I can't even imagine, the how you feel, and the day-to-day trials that you face. But I wouldn't know, just by looking at you, that happened. I actually didn't know till your mother told me earlier today. So I mean, evidently you are handling it and you're getting your strength from somewhere. So um, I definitely commend you on that and everything. And you're the oldest daughter, right? Are you the oldest
I
daughter?
am the oldest. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So now, coming up, did you have to like take care of the younger ones? Or do you remember a time where
Yeah, yeah, always. My mom, she would always work. So and then my brother, he was unfortunately, in and out. But even since he's the oldest brother, I'm the oldest female. So it's kind of like that mother trait or that mother thing is kind of instilled in me, where I would be bossing my younger sisters around, not bossing, but just trying to be in control and saying they need to do this, they need to do this. And then I'm kind of, kind of bossy anyway. So I like to have things my way, and I try to tell them. Even now, I tell my little sister, "Hey, you're not wearing that to school," and she's 16. So
Wow.
yeah,
And that's one thing that I like about you, because this guy, my brother Troy Taheen Wilson, says, "Daily bread, take no thought on tomorrow, because tomorrow will take care of itself." And so that's one thing that you were saying, like, hey, I don't know about tomorrow, or, I just, handle this thing day by day. So that's very good to live by, and I try to live by that as well, because we can make plans all day long, but God is the one who, says that if those plans are gonna come to fruition or not. And speaking of God, how is your relationship with God? I know your mother from the church, and, like I mentioned earlier, my father was a preacher, but I was furthest away, from God. So how is your walk with God? And and you can be honest, like, nobody's, there's no judgment zone. But how is your walk with God, and learning from what your mother is putting down? Are you picking it up?
I think that I am. I'm not even. I know that I'm picking this thing up well. I can say, just like her in your interview with her about the rebellious thing. It's just like, hey, I was doing the same thing, and it was like, I'm here, I'm not, I'm here, I'm not. But right now, today, I think I am doing fairly well with this thing with God, and not even say this thing, just everything. I just joined the choir, so
Okay.
I would sung 2 Sundays now. So
Congratulations.
choir rehearsal last night was fun. Thank you. I felt good going in. On the way home, I was singing. My son in the back seat singing with me, Jesus, Jesus. So it was just good, and not even just singing in the choir. Just my personal time that I spend. I read. I listen to Sarah Jakes Roberts. Is T.D. Jakes' daughter. I listen to her all the time. I read her book. I just do a lot of things for myself that just in my alone time to just get myself closer to God, and just try to blot out any distractions, and just do whatever I can, because I know it's a daily thing, just one day or a week without putting this discipline on myself. It's easy to go back to old habits, and then next thing you know, I'm like, where am I? But my pastor once said, you can't put God on a puppet. You can't you can't play with him like he's on a string. You can't pick him up whenever you want. So, you just,
Wow.
I just do this, how to have a lot of self-control and stay disciplined with myself with, the things that I need to do, and know that things that I want is not what God wants for me. And I try to pray and ask God, just, God, thank you for just supplying my every need, giving me the things that I need and not what I want. So when things don't go my way, I don't get upset. Now I might smack my lip, but then I may realize, okay, this wasn't for me. So it's just a daily thing, but my walk with God, I'm here. I think that I learned well, especially, again, with my mom. She had to lead a song in the choir, and she sent me the video, said, let me know what you think. So as she was singing, I was playing it, and I was singing along with it. I was like, I could have did. I think I could have did better. So I replied back, and I said, I think I'm gonna join.
Oh yeah.
So I said, yeah, I sat in choir rehearsal the next week, and then just sitting there, But the next week, that's when I asked when I joined. And I mean, it's I haven't led a song, but I mean, it feels good. It feels good, doing these things that my mom is doing as well. Now, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna become a minister. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see myself, but hey, I don't. That's another thing about what God wants for me versus what I want for myself. So we don't know. So yeah.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. I see you leading the song too, because once you be like, yo, I can do that. It's already in you that you want to lead one. So they pretty sure they gonna pick one out for you sooner or later. But and that's one thing I like that, that it's an everyday thing, and there's no perfect walk. Like even like you mentioned, Sarah Jakes Roberts, maybe. TD Jakes
Yeah.
daughter. Like she's not perfect too, so she has her flaws. So I'm glad that this is an everyday thing, and you just keep growing and growing and growing. So I'm definitely once again proud of you that you're following in the footsteps early on, of that role model. And Latoya Williams said, thanks, everyone. Appreciate it so much. And Felicia Mitchell said, continue to let go and let God use you and be that point of influence to glorify God. My brother Troy Taheen Wilson, appreciate you for listening, bruh. Once again, says, awesome with your testimony. So what would you tell young people, young single mothers as well, who are going through something, trying to find themselves either spiritually, emotionally, financially, socially? What would you tell, young mothers or young people, you know, in the position of
Well, everyone has their own different, situations and scenarios, whether it's with their family, themselves, children. Some may not have children, but I mean, something that, I mean, everyone trust God, just trust God, even if you don't trust yourself, because I had to ask myself, dang, do I even trust even if I don't trust myself, I have to trust God, but I know I have to trust myself too, because how can I trust myself? How can I trust God but not trust myself? So that's one thing that I would just tell other people or other moms, young moms, like you gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe in yourself and know that you can do it. I've seen myself and other people around me just being so yielding to just things of the world and distractions and just keep doing the same thing, living the same old, doing the same things. But I mean, it's going to come a time when you get tired of just doing that, and you can say, hey, what am I doing? Like, come on now. So, I mean, just to say, for other moms, or just other young women, just other young girls, just trust yourself. Whatever it is that you want to do, you may not even know what you want to do. Just ask God to just order your steps and just trust Him that He will lead you. Because wherever you going, you just might as well be walking with a blindfold, because you don't know where you're going, what you're doing. You just doing anything, So just ask God to just be your light, Let Him be your eyes and let Him lead you, so that you won't be really nilly.
going to and fro, tossed about.
Walking with a purpose.
Yeah. All right. And is there anything else you want to leave, either you or Minister Williams want to leave with our Facebook audience? Because I know it's getting late and, everybody has to go to work and get up. So.
No, but thank you, and it was nice chatting.
You for your even your wisdom, your knowledge, your understanding, your transparency and your honesty, man. I once again I thank God for you, and I know that God is going to do something special for you and your children, and He's going to give you everything back that you desire. So keep the faith and keep singing. Stay stay
Thank you.
stay in the choir.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you.
And you, Miss Williams, do you have anything you want to leave with our audience uh, who has been so in tune? And once again, thank you, Facebook audience, as well for staying with us and your comments and your encouragement to our guests. I really, 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 really appreciate you guys tuning in.
I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. And I pray that someone got encouraged on tonight because we all have to, encourage one another. We need that strength to get from day to day. So I just want to tell everyone to stay encouraged, trust God, keep the faith, and strive with vision.
Strive with vision. Thank you so much, Minister Williams. And remember, y'all go to Eventbrite or go to our Facebook page, order the tickets for that benefit dinner, or go to strivingwithvision.com, right? Strivingwithvision.com to order.
Yes, and
Go ahead.
I was just going to say for those that may not be able to attend, if you would like to donate, you can donate at SW Vision INC on Cash App.
SW Vision INC on Cash App. And remember, once again, check out the book Mentally Free on Amazon, Kindle or ebook or paperback, however you want to order. Just support this lady, her son, her children, and what they are doing for the community. Once again, thank you, Minister Williams, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. God bless you and have a great evening. Thank you all once again.
Thank you.
Good night.